Hello and welcome to the first episode of my new YouTube channel, Soft Spoken ASMR. My name is Sam and I'm really excited to be embarking on this new journey with you, and I'll tell you all about it in a moment. I'll tell you all about how I came to be here today. As the title of my channel may give away, at least for now I'll mainly be focusing on soft-spoken videos because I've realised that's what works best for me as an ASMR user. So that's what I'll mainly be focusing on, at least for the moment. So the format will be more or less a chit-chatty kind of channel where I talk about things about my life, things that you may want to talk about and discuss, and we'll see how it goes. And this setting is completely different from what I'm usually used to because I already have a YouTube channel called Logic, and I will link it down below, not as a way to plug my other channel, but just in case you're interested. But it's completely different. I teach advanced English as a foreign language and the language learning process through mathematical logic. I'm a bit of a geek and I'll tell you all about that as well very soon. So this kind of whispering and relaxed environment is definitely not what I'm used to, because obviously when I do my other videos I need to be in teacher mode and I need to make sure that I deliver concepts in a very efficient and effective way. So this is much more relaxing for me, and I already feel the benefits. I can now see why people would want to make ASMR videos to begin with. I have to say, when I first found out about ASMR, I was very skeptical because, let's face it, it's a very strange and bizarre concept to buy into, at least to begin with. But then, as someone who has a lot of sleep problems, you get desperate and you try everything that you can get your hands on. And I gave ASMR a go a while ago, and it works, as we all know. It really calmed me down when I first started using it, and I was really shocked because, again, I didn't quite believe that something as simple as noises or sounds can really soothe you to sleep. And I'm a creative, and I'll tell you about that later as well. And I think this is something that a lot of creatives struggle with. Our minds and brains are constantly spinning, and that's why I find soft-spoken conversations, or rather monologues, more effective for me, because what I need is for my brain to stop thinking about all the things that it's preoccupied with, and following someone who's having a long and natural monologue allows me to distract myself from my thoughts and focus on what the ASMR artist is saying, and that puts me to sleep. So that's where I'm getting my idea for this video from. Sounds and long and dragged out whispers are extremely relaxing. I can absolutely see that, but they don't really put me to sleep. That's the only little thing that I have to say about it, which is why I'll mainly be focusing on soft-spoken videos. And going back to my other channel, yes, I am a qualified teacher of English as a foreign language, but that's not all I do. I'm actually a singing drag queen, which is the creative side of me, and I do that as a full-time job. And I used to be a teacher. I used to teach students always privately, and I never worked in a school because as a performer I've always needed the flexibility to be able to teach whenever and wherever I can. So long before COVID, I started teaching small groups in person of adults that paid me privately to come to my small group classes, and then I switched on to online teaching, which allowed me to work from home, which was even better. And during COVID, I actually started my English channel, and then I ended up being a full-time online teacher, a full-time drag queen when COVID was lifted, and so I decided to then stop teaching and focus only on my YouTube channel and my drag, and now here I am doing ASMR. I've been thinking about doing some kind of other videos and channel for a while, and since quite a few people tell me that I have the good, a voice for it, I thought I'd give this a go. And as I said earlier, I can already feel the soothing effects on me, so I will definitely be making a few more videos because it feels very relaxing and almost therapeutic for me to be just talking. And the good thing about this is that I don't have to keep pausing and starting again. It happens a lot in my other channel because I have very targeted things that I need to talk about and I need to memorize them, so it does take much longer to create an English language video. So this is extremely calming and relaxing, so I'll definitely be making the most of this. Funnily enough, I've just had to stop recording because a car was driving past, but now going back to my sleep problems, I wish ASMR had been around when I was a child because that's when I struggled the most. Now I say that I have sleep problems, but over the years I've realised that maybe they're not clinical problems. I'm lucky enough that that's not the case. I think it's about understanding how my body works and just adjusting to that. I'm not one of those people who can wake up at 11 a.m. in the morning and then go to bed at 9 p.m. because they're tired. I need to be awake for a certain amount of hours. I don't know if there is a specific amount there, but I need to be awake for a considerable amount of time. And it's even better if I can tire myself out physically and mentally. And if that doesn't happen, I do struggle to fall asleep. And in the past, I've tried all sorts of things. I've tried reading, I've tried watching TV. I know they say that you shouldn't excite your brain with media, so with TV or other things, but sometimes it does help me personally. It doesn't mean that it has to work for everyone else. And I've tried all sorts of tricks, and a combination of these things usually works, but sometimes I'm just not meant to fall asleep. And now, rather than seeing this as a sleep problem or a condition, I see it as just something that I need to be aware of, and ASMR does help me. And again, I wish I could have experimented with it in the past when I was much younger, because that would have been an extra bit of help that I could have relied on. So now I know more or less how my body works, so I can adjust to it, and I know that if one night I can't really sleep much, then chances are that I will be fairly tired the day after, so I will be able to sleep the night after. So I take some comfort thinking about that, which sounds like a stupid thing, but it does help, at least mentally, to know that there is a way out at some point. And again, I'm really grateful for ASMR because it does help me slow down and focus on someone's voice, and that just puts me to sleep. I said earlier that I am a singing drag queen, and I want to tell you a little bit more about that. I've always been a performer. I was an amateur dancer when I was younger, just for fun, nothing professional, and I always thought I either wanted to be a dancer or an English teacher. I soon realised that dancing was not for me on a professional level, but I did become an English teacher. I studied languages back in Italy, where I'm originally from. I live in London at the moment. But then I fell in love with maths, funnily enough, which is why I now combine both languages and maths in my other channel. And I then moved to London to study acting. My dream when I was 14 was to be a screen actor, so I studied screen acting with camera work, which was a great experience. But then I realised that my career was not going anywhere after 7 years of trying. And I also don't believe I was the best of actors, because I'm a mathematician at heart. Acting was all about being in the moment and reacting naturally to what the other actor gives you, but as a mathematician, I already had 6,000 possible reactions to 6,000 possible things that my actors might give me. So I wasn't in the moment. I had to reinvent myself as a performer because I still wanted to perform. I did not want to give it up. Performing really does make me happy. I love languages and I love teaching, and I'm really grateful that I got to do it in the past with students, and I can do it now on my channel, but it's not my very primary passion. I really want to perform, and here in London you get all sorts of performers and performances, and a couple of years before I had to decide what to do with my life, I'd randomly started watching drag shows here in London, and I thought nothing of it. I knew that I enjoyed them, but I never thought that would be something that I would become. This style of drag, at least in the centre of London, is different from what you see on TV. So primarily here we sing live and we interact with the audience between songs. We perform in pubs, clubs sometimes, restaurants as well, doing brunches too. So that's the style of drag that I do, and 2 years after I'd started watching these shows, I realised that maybe I should give it a go. I knew that I could sing, but I'd never done anything with my singing. I spent my teenage years singing and dancing to High School Musical in my bedroom. I know it sounds cheesy, but as someone who likes singing, dancing and acting, that's the kind of dream that I had. Of course, the storyline is cheesy and a bit pathetic, but the dancing, the singing, the music, it was brilliant for someone who likes that kind of stuff. So I decided to give it a go. It took me a whole year to transform myself into a drag queen, and the thing that was the most terrifying for me was actually singing in front of people. I know I'm a performer and I know I'm a YouTuber, so you would assume that I'm not shy, but I am when it comes to singing. Well, I used to be. Before decided to become a drag queen, I'd never really sung in front of anyone apart from my brother. Of course, when I was back home and I was singing and dancing to High School Musical, everyone could hear me, but I locked myself in the room, so at least mentally I felt like I was alone, but I knew that everyone could hear me. And before becoming a drag queen, I'd started singing in a particular venue here in London through karaoke. My friend literally flung me on stage one day and told me that I should sing, and funnily enough, that day was the first ever karaoke competition that was taking place in that venue, so I also got to be judged based on my singing. And I know it sounds silly and easy to do because it's just karaoke, but for someone who'd never performed through singing in front of anyone, it was a big step for me, and I'm eternally grateful to my friend for literally throwing me up on stage, because thanks to that, now here I am a few years later being a drag queen. I do it as my as my like job because performing is really a passion of mine. And I'm very happy that I get to do it on a regular basis. What I do is slightly different from what most drag queens do because they tend to sing older classics, they tend to sing Mariah, Celine, Whitney. I don't really do that. I am more of a modern party queen. I sing Katy Perry, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars. I do a little bit of Bon Jovi as well, so I do try to mix genres. I do Evanescence, I do Pitbull as well, so I do a little bit of rapping, which is very hard to learn. So that's my kind of style. I do Anastasia. Actually, Anastasia is the person that turned me on to music when I was younger. My youngest aunt, who is only 10 years older than me, was in love with her, and thanks to her I started finding out more about Anastasia, and I love her music, and she is the person that inspired me to become a singer. Maybe not a drag queen, that came much later on, but my passion for music started mainly with her, and I sing one of the songs. I sing I'm Out of Love, which is one of the very first songs that I learned and started performing on the scene. So it's a very special song for me. So that's what I do. I do it mainly here in London, but I also get to travel. I perform in Cardiff, I perform in North England, South England as well, and I've recently come back from Gran Canaria. Gran Canaria has an area called a town called Maspalomas, which is very famous within the gay community because a lot of gays go there, a lot of English gays go there, and it's almost like an English and German colony. They have what is called a Jumbo Centre, which is an open air shopping centre during the day on different floors and levels, but in the evening it's full of pubs, mainly gay pubs, where you can go and just have a drink, and a few of these pubs do cabaret. So what they do is, they have their resident queens who live in Gran Canaria and do shows every single day. It's a very demanding job. It just sounds like it's a lot of fun, which it is, but there is a lot of work that goes into it if you're there 5 days a week. Obviously the pub is open 7 days a week, and these queens take turns. They have shifts like every other job, and sometimes they get us queens from London mainly to perform as guest performers during specific events. The venue that I went to has what is called Spring Fling and Winter Warmer. They are 10 days. One is in spring and one is in winter. They are not related to Pride. They take place a few weeks before Pride. It's just a special kind of event that this venue does, and for those 2 day events they get guest queens, and I got to perform there last Monday actually for the first time. It was a great experience, and it was great to go to Gran Canaria and perform. I actually went as a civilian, and I asked the venue if they needed an extra guest, and they said yes, and that was my debut. It was a great experience, and it was amazing that a venue so far away took such a big chance on me by giving me a full hour slot to perform in front of their customers. It was great. That was my second time in Gran Canaria. I went in November for the first time for Winter Pride. They do a Summer Pride in May and a Winter Pride in November, and I went as part of a stag party for my friend who got married in January. We went for 5 days. It was 9 or 10 of us, it was a great experience and a great introduction to Gran Canaria. Gran Canaria is not just famous for the Jumbo Centre, but it's also famous for its beaches. It has normal beaches, but it also has a part with huge dunes. Now, before November, I'd never actually seen sand dunes in real life, and these are huge. They're amazing. And what I've heard is that because it's so windy, the wind blows the sand off the dunes. So if it's true what they say, these dunes almost move because of the wind. Now, I didn't see that with my own eyes. I didn't really see that a dune was here 1 second and then somewhere else 30 minutes later, but that's what they say. The biggest dunes obviously don't really move because that's a lot of sand, but apparently that's what happens, and it's brilliant. It looks like a desert because part of Gran Canaria is basically a desert as it's close to North Africa. So visually it's a great experience. There are a lot of gays in that area, but not just us. There are also straight people. A lot of people on all these beaches are naked, so that's more or less the spirit of Gran Canaria, apparently. But you don't have to be naked. I don't like being fully naked, so it's not a requirement. But that's something that happens over there. But you don't have to be around that kind of environment if you don't like it. There are also mountains nearby, which I haven't seen, I haven't explored yet, but you can see them from Las Palomas, from the town that I was in. So there is a lot to do, and it's very warm all year round because it's very close to Africa, so it's a nice little getaway. And funnily enough, well, both times that I went, I saw a lot of people that I know from London as friends and also as customers. So these are customers that go to my pubs where I perform. They don't know who I am out of drag, but I recognise them. So it was funny to see a lot of them hanging around the Jumbo Centre. By the time this video comes out, I will have been back in the UK for a couple of weeks already, so I don't think you can see much of a tan. Now, I only had 2 afternoons to spend at the beach, so I didn't really get that tanned, also because I always wear protection 50, but for someone who is extremely pale, such as myself, there is definitely a difference. I have some tan lines, so I have a little bit of colour now, which will soon fade away, unfortunately. But my friend and I decided to go back to Gran Canaria in May for Pride. We booked literally 3 days ago, so it's all been last minute. So we're going there for 4 to 5 days, and it will be a little bit more relaxing because we will have a little bit more time. This time I went for 2 nights, so I left on a Sunday morning and came back on Tuesday evening. My friend only came for 1 night. He joined me on Monday afternoon, and then we left on Tuesday afternoon. That was insane, but again, it was very quick but very much needed. So this time we're going to be there for a bit longer, so we can enjoy a bit of Pride celebrations until the Sunday, and then we're coming back on Tuesday, so we will spend 2 days without Pride, so it will be a little bit more relaxing. So yes, we're travelling a lot this year. We're trying different things. My friend, the stag from November, will already be there. He's already going with his husband, so I'll meet him there. So it will be a great adventure, and I'm sure a lot of people from London will be there. So I have no doubt that I will bump into a lot of people that I know, a lot of friends as well. Okay, that's enough talking for one day. I hope you found this video as soothing to listen to as it has been for me to make. It's been very relaxing, and I'm really glad I've decided to give this new adventure a go. And since it's a new channel, it would mean a lot if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel, so hopefully I can get it started and I can get it out there a little bit more. In the meantime, I will see you next week with another soft-spoken video.